Iditarod Dream. Dusty and his sled dogs compete in Alaska's Junior Iditarod. By Ted Wood. In 1925, the people of Nome, Alaska desperately needed help. In response, people from Anchorage set out with sled dog teams on the Iditarod Trail to deliver life-saving medicine. Today, in honor of those brave teams, 2 races take place along the trail: the famous Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race, and for young competitors, the Junior Iditarod. This selection describes the experiences of Dusty Whitmore as he competes in the Junior Iditarod. The day is clear and cold. Mount McKinley, the highest peak in North America, stands like a giant before the truck. The trip south to race headquarters in Wasilla takes 4 hours. Dusty's thoughts return to last year's Junior Iditarod, his first. He remembers the 30 below zero temperatures and how his glasses were so coated with ice he couldn't see the trail. And how on the return, when perhaps he'd been headed for victory, he got lost, wandering for 4 hours before he found the right trail. He finished 4th. But this year, his glasses are gone, replaced with contact lenses, and his dog team is the best he's ever had. He can only hope the Huskies take him down the right trail. That evening, they reach Iditarod headquarters, where all the racers are gathered for the pre-race meeting. He sees familiar faces from last year: Andy Willis, the favorite to win this year, and Noah Burmeister, who came all the way from Nome. One at a time, the 15 racers pick numbers from a hat to set their starting positions in tomorrow's race. There is no number 1 position competing in the race. Instead, the slot is reserved to honor a dedicated supporter of that year's Junior Iditarod race. The racers start 2 minutes apart. Dusty picks number 6, a good position and the same he had last year. Andy will start 14th and Noah 9th. Dusty leaves with his father for his final night's sleep before the race. The next morning, Dusty and his dad arrive 2 hours before the race. It's 0 degrees, which is perfect for the dogs. Any warmer and they would overheat. The race begins on frozen Lake Lucille and runs 79 miles north through forests, over windswept swamps, and up the ice-covered Yentna River to a cabin called Yentna Station, the halfway point. Last year, the race started 10 miles farther up the trail. Dusty is worried about starting here. The lake ice is barely covered with snow and is so hard that if he loses control at the start, he could get dragged across the lake. His safety hook, used to stop and hold the sled, won't be able to grab the ice. Dusty checks the brakes on his sled and begins to pack the required supplies. Every racer must carry 2 pounds of food per dog in case of emergency, and must finish with the same amount. The 4 pounds each dog will eat for dinner has been flown to Yentna Station the day before. 10 minutes before his start, Dusty, his father, and 3 friends, working as handlers, hook the dogs up to the sled. Each dog looks small, but is tremendously powerful. Dusty has to walk each dog from the truck, lifting its front legs off the snow. With all 4 legs down, a sled dog would pull Dusty off his feet. Even hooked up, the dogs are so excited by the other teams, it takes every hand to hold them in place. Dusty's team moves to the starting line, straining against the handlers. His mother rides the sled with him, stepping on the brakes to help control the sled. She's nervous, remembering how Dusty got lost last time. But she's also very proud, and she kisses him goodbye before hopping off the sled. The dogs are pulling so hard now that 5 people can barely hold them back. Then the announcer yells, "Go!" The handlers step away, and Dusty flies from the start. They cross the lake safely, following the red plastic cones marking the route. But as they enter the woods, Dusty is on edge. He's never done this part of the trail, and it's crowded with obstacles. Snowmobiles roar along the same trail, and within 10 miles, he has to cross 4 roads. Sometimes the roads are so slick the dogs fall, or they get confused by the cars and spectators. Dusty knows he just needs to survive this part until he hits the main Iditarod Trail. At the first road, the team roars over the pavement and around a sharp turn coming off the road. But they're going too fast, and the sled skids sideways, crashing into a tree. Dusty stops dead and can't believe he didn't break the sled. "I'm out of control," he says to himself. "I'd better slow the team down." Back on the trail, he uses his track brake to slow the dogs. He gets them into a strong, steady pace and is able to pass 2 racers only 5 miles from the start. He crosses the next road and quickly overtakes another racer. Right before the final road crossing, 10 miles out, Dusty passes the last racer. He knows he's in the lead now, that his team is running well. But he can't think about that. He just wants to get through this part and onto the main Iditarod Trail, which he knows from last year's race. Finally, 11 miles out, Dusty hits the familiar trail leading into the thick Alaskan forest. The team is running perfectly now, strong and fast, as they head into the hilly section of the race. Dusty is in a rhythm too. He runs beside the sled up hills to lighten the load for his team. Around tight corners he jumps from left runner to right runner, digging in the edges to steer the sled through the curves. The trail is only a few feet wide in the woods, and coming around a blind corner, the dogs run smack into 2 snowmobiles stopped in the path. Unable to pass, the dogs spin and run in circles, tangling their lines before Dusty can get to them. It takes him 5 minutes to straighten them out and get underway. As he goes around the next curve and down a hill, he spots another snowmobile roaring full speed toward him. The machine almost hits Annie and QT in the lead, but it flies off the trail to avoid the collision. The 2 lead dogs stop dead, but the others can't. They pile into each other, making a huge tangle of dogs and line. Dusty can't believe it. 2 tangles in less than 5 minutes. He frantically unknots his team, sure that another racer will catch up to him because of the delays. A tangle is a musher's second worst nightmare. The dogs can injure their feet in the lines or strangle when they wrap around each other. Finally underway, Dusty and the dogs are on edge and can't settle into a pace. "Please don't see another snowmobile," he says to himself. Then he spots moose tracks on the trail, and his fears mushroom. Running into a moose is a musher's worst nightmare. Because dogs look like wolves to a moose may attack a team and can kill several dogs before a musher can frighten it off. There's no going around a moose. If Dusty sees one, all he can do is wait for it to move and hope it doesn't charge. But the team carries him safely out of the forest and onto a wide open meadow. Dusty passes a small wooden sign that says, "Nome, 1,049 miles," and knows from the year before that he can relax for a while through these barren flats. The flats lead to frozen Flathorn Lake, 3.5 hours from the start. Here on the edge of the lake, Dusty takes his first break. He tosses all the dogs fish snacks, big chunks of frozen salmon that will keep their energy up. He says hi to each as well, checking their feet for injuries. QT and Blackie have splits in the webs between their toes, so Dusty puts booties on their feet to protect them as they run. He takes only 5 minutes, still expecting to see another racer coming close behind. Trails cross in every direction at the lake, and it's here that Dusty got lost last year. Today, he chooses the right path and speeds out onto the huge snowy lake. It's like running on an ocean of white. Dusty feels relaxed and at home. Out on the lake, he suddenly realizes how big his lead is. He can see 5 miles behind him, and there's not one racer in sight. He can't believe it. Where are Andy and Noah? He asks himself. From the lake, Dusty turns onto the Susitna River. It looks like a winding snow highway disappearing into the wilderness. Here, he stops at the one checkpoint in the race, and while an official examines his sled and required cargo, Dusty checks the dogs. He decides to take Annie off the lead. She's been looking back while running and seems nervous. She must not have recovered from the encounter with the snowmobile, Dusty thinks. Dusty moves young Jazz to lead with QT. But Jazz proves too inexperienced. And 3 miles from the checkpoint, Dusty switches Jazz for Betty. Now the team is running well again, and they move quickly, silently, up a tributary of the Susitna called the Yentna River. There's no need to yell orders here. They know the way to Yentna Station, but Dusty still calls their names to keep them happy. Just after 5 p.m., 7 hours after he started, Dusty arrives at Yentna Station, the halfway point and overnight stop. The station is a little log house that can only be reached by plane, snowmobile, or dog sled. Visitors can stay in the house, but racers can't. By the rules, they have to stay with the dogs. Dusty feels great. He knows he's had a fast race, but more important, the dogs look fresh and are still eager to run. He smiles to himself, knowing that his training has paid off. But there's no time to relax. He has hours of dog chores to do. Each racer gets 1 bale of straw for bedding. After Dusty ties the sled off to a small tree, he spreads the straw around the dogs. It will protect them from the cold snow as they sleep. Next, he fires up his stove to melt snow for water. While it heats, he fills a cooler with 20 pounds of hamburger and dry food. He pours the heated water into the cooler, letting the frozen meat soak up the warm liquid. 20 hungry eyes watch as Dusty finally dishes up the warm meal. After dinner, Dusty checks the dog's feet for web cracks, putting on ointment where needed. Then he hears other dogs and looks up. He'd forgotten about the other racers. It's Noah, the second racer to arrive at Yentna, 38 minutes behind Dusty. Andy arrives next, 8 minutes after Noah. Over the next 4 hours, the remaining racers straggle in. Everyone is required to stay at Yentna 10 hours. Dusty arrived so early that his departure time is 3:30 the next morning. He decides not to sleep and helps the other racers build a big fire in the snow. They all help each other. That's the rule of the wilderness. Before his 3:30 start, Dusty melts more water for the dogs, feeds everyone, packs his sled, and finally makes sure his headlamp batteries work for the trip back. It's snowing lightly as he leaves Yentna, and there's no moon. The only light comes from Dusty's headlamp. The dogs are excited to run, but Dusty doesn't like the night. He can't see the trail markers or nearby moose. The dogs are his only eyes, so he chooses Betty and QT to lead him out. They did the trail once, Dusty figures, so they can do it again. Once again, the dogs are gobbling up the miles. They run the Yentna River and Flathorn Lake in the dark. At first light, Dusty stops at the gnome sign. As he gives the dogs fish snacks, he finally lets himself believe that if nothing bad happens, he can expect to win. Dusty and his team move through the hills easily and take all 4 road crossings smoothly. Finally, the lake appears, like a welcome mat, and Dusty begins to smile as he heads for the finish. He's running so fast that the spectators and most of the racers' families haven't arrived yet. But he spots his mother and father cheering him on, and when he crosses the finish line, his mother showers him with hugs and kisses. His father's proud smile is so big, it almost looks frozen with happiness. TV and radio announcers swarm Dusty. "How does it feel to win, Dusty?" they ask. "I would have had a big smile even if I'd come in last," he says. "But it feels great to win." Because he ran so fast, rumors are flying that Dusty has mistreated his dogs, pushing them too hard. But now, looking at them, everyone knows this isn't true. The dogs are still strong, barking, jumping, and eager to run farther. Dusty has treated them just right. He knows they are his trusted partners, and they're champions.